Hey, Adam,
Yeah,
do you like mythology?
I do. Greek mythology is fascinating.
Yeah. What about Egyptian mythology?
I don't know anything about that. What about jazz mythology?
Let's talk about that.
All right. I'm Adam Maness,
And I'm Peter
and
Martin.
you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Daily jazz advice, and just to warn you, possibly a little controversy coming your way daily.
Have you read any Greek mythology, actually?
Yes, I was actually in 6th grade. I had a great, I guess it was English or social studies, whatever the class was. Great teacher.
Yeah.
Shout out to community school in Ladue, Missouri.
Hey.
That we read that Greek mythology. I don't know. It was one of the little paperback.
I
with
know
all
one
the-
of them. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's great, man. Like foundation for Western storytelling. Really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And I think it might have helped me with the modes of the major scale, but I'm not sure. Was
It
that
most
Greek?
certainly did.
Ionian, Doric, and all that stuff. Whoa.
All right,
Look at
All right, we got to.
my seat just went down.
Oh.
Hello. Let's go back up.
Hades dragging
That's
you
right.
down. Let's dive in. We got a list of 7 here. Our
Well,
7.
what are we talking about today?
Talking about our 7 biggest jazz myths.
Right. Should that have been largest? 7 largest jazz? No, it's biggest. That's right.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay,
right.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we get a chance to order these, or we're going to do them in no particular order?
No
Why don't we
particular
do that?
order.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So why don't we start with, as we say that, I'm going to reorder it. Number 1 is for our 7 biggest jazz myths.
Yep.
You need to go to jam sessions every day to get better. Is that a jazz myth?
I believe it is.
It is a myth.
Yeah.
Now, I think I grabbed this one off the internet when I Googled, because most of these we came up with, but a couple I threw in there.
That's
'cause
good
I
to do
wanted see
research.
a little research. But this one's a little bit funny because if you go to jam sessions every day, you actually will get better.
Yeah, you will.
But I think the myth part of it is that in general, like, just go to jam sessions, be around the music, and that's how you get better. When that, individual practice, the studying, listening to recordings, all the
Yeah.
things work together. Jam sessions are just a part of it. Plus, if you're going to kind of the wrong jam sessions,
It can be
i.e.
bad.
bad players
Yeah.
or bad tunes and stuff like that, you're not really going to get anywhere. You might even get worse.
Yeah, I mean, your time is always a consideration. So if you're going to jam sessions with a ton of bad players or something and you're waiting for 3 hours, whatever, that time could probably be better spent practicing at
Right.
home. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? But I mean, you still need to go and get yourself out there for
Right.
sure with the community.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, what's number 2?
You have to be a jazz professor to play jazz well. Now, I know that Monk had 3 doctoral degrees from Juilliard. Oh, no, he didn't?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, interesting.
So what are you trying to say?
Myth, man.
Oh, okay,
Come on.
myth. Right,
of course.
right. Sorry, I got confused.
Yeah.
I know if it was a double negative there. Yeah, you don't have to be a jazz professor. Now, this is not to say we love the jazz professors. There's plenty of jazz professors. I mean, like Joe Lovano comes to mind. Herbie Hancock is a jazz professor. I mean, there's plenty of jazz professors. It's not about that.
Yeah.
But the main thing about this is we're saying you don't have to be a scholar of jazz in order to play well.
No.
No.
And historically, that's never been the case until very, very recently, that there was even this opportunity to like study jazz at this, secondary education level. I mean, it's just really, it's really such a huge part of the music now. But yeah, man, you don't need that at all.
Right. And I think it also speaks to just like you don't have to talk about music in a scholarly, be able to talk about music. I mean, it's a cool thing if you can do that. And like, Wynton Marsalis definitely comes to mind, and that like he has such a great ability to go from being a jazz professor to really a jazz scholar,
Yeah.
to sort of an American history and how jazz fits into the American story scholar as well, and then a great player and everything. But that's a very rare, separate skill set.
Yeah, but think about someone like Roy Hargrove or Miles Davis, or someone who didn't want to talk about the music like that,
Right.
For the fear that it would ruin the mystery of it,
Right.
for them,
Right.
I think there's. I might be a little irked this morning with some
Yeah,
jazz
yeah.
professor.
Sounds like you had a little,
professorships.
yeah, exactly.
So,
all right, so
let's move on.
Let's move on to something a little less controversial,
Uh-huh.
and that is you have to suffer or do drugs or be African American in order to play jazz well.
Less controversial.
That was a little joke.
All right.
Okay, so I grouped all these together because basically it's all things that really don't have anything to do with the music, but that either popular culture or the media or the movies or just ignorant people have associated with the music. Sort of socioeconomic things and whatever. And really what this is about is that it's not to say that there haven't been jazz musicians. That's just like there's been, attorneys and doctors and stuff that have done drugs that are successful or good. It's just that it has nothing to do with that. So it makes an interesting thing in certain movies and that kind of thing. But you have the vast majority of great jazz players that don't partake in that.
That kind of stuff is sexy, or to suffer is, like you're always, this brooding artist or whatever.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times associated with the blues, and I think that there's certainly an element to that. I mean, a huge element to how the blues, was born, how it came to influence jazz, really the foundation, one of the big foundation points, and how that came out of the African American, a lot of suffering, slavery,
totally.
In this country and in this music, and there's certainly that historical link there
no
for
doubt.
sure.
Yeah.
But when you talk about, like, I almost think it's kind of what do you call it, disingenuous when that's attached to the music. Now that's like saying that's only what it's about. So I think you have to understand the foundations and the historical implications of the music, but you don't have to be from Mississippi and suffer in that way, or even geographically be somewhere, or racially be of a certain race in order to play this music.
I think this boils down to me to, we were talking about this yesterday, to authenticity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whoever you are, bring that to the music.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you do drugs, bring that to the music.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're straight edge, bring that to the music.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? So it's like the authenticity is the, I have to say that word twice apparently every time I say it, is the most important part.
That's right. Good. All right, number 4.
If you transcribe solos, you'll automatically get better.
What? Wait, actually, is that a myth?
No, that's real. That's got to be totally real, right?
Well, okay, okay, I decided to put a kind of a little...
But what does automatically mean?
Exactly. So technically, it's not true. You're not going to get automatically better. But by this one, what I just meant was, sorry to steal this one back, but I think I wrote this
Take it.
one.
You could take that one.
No, the thing was, and this was another one I got off the internet. Oh, that's right. That's why I put this in there, because this is literally on a list of things of the top myths. And I'm like, no, it's actually not a myth. You will get better as long as you're doing some other things that are required to become a great musician as well.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
what it
if
is.
we sell you on anything of this podcast, it's transcription as a means to become a better player.
Right.
So,
well, you see, I wrote on there, this is actually not a myth in all caps.
That's great.
So there you go.
All right, can I do the next one since you hijacked that one?
Right. Well, it wasn't a myth, so go ahead.
All right, you have to be a member of the Jazz Police force. Jazz Police force. You added force. I didn't know there was a whole force of Jazz Police. The Jazz Police Task Force.
Task Force.
To play
right.
jazz well. That is a myth.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's so much of a myth. I don't know if you can be a member of the Jazz Police Force. Are there any members of the Jazz Police Force that are really good players?
yeah.
Okay, let's call them out, man. We got a lot of. Well, Ethan Iverson, he's a great player, and he kind of
is he on the Jazz Police though?
Well,
he might
he's
be
not.
on the Art Police.
Yeah,
but no, he just has very strong opinions.
Yes, right. Yeah, and actually, we can't put him on the Jazz Police because he's very articulate in his writings and stuff. So,
but it fits. He's too good, too.
Yeah, he's good. Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, could you be? But the whole thing is, what we're saying is, you don't have to be a member of the Jazz. So if there's a couple that have slipped in onto the force,
you definitely do not.
He's undercover.
I encourage you not to be a part of the Jazz Police.
Exactly.
Actually, yeah,
exactly. And you definitely don't have to be part of it.
Yeah.
But there's many on that Jazz Police force that think. I mean, it's kind of stupid though, because what they're trying to enforce, they realize that all many of the great players are not on the police force. So
that's crazy.
Let's move on.
All right.
Number 6, you have to know the entire history of jazz to play or listen to the music.
Whoa.
So I realized we were starting to get into the biggest jazz myths, and it's all about being a great player. You don't have to do these things to still be able to play. But there's so many myths around the music. So to listen to the music, to enjoy the music, whether playing or listening and being a part of it, there really is this myth and this kind of doctrine that you have to do homework, that you have to know the history. Like, how can you enjoy Thelonious Monk if you haven't? I've actually heard people say that if you don't know Scott Joplin to Earl Father Hines to Meade Lux Lewis, and I mean, you're going to be enhanced if you know that.
Yeah.
But if you just sit down and listen to Monk and you don't know anything else and you enjoy that, what a great thing.
Yeah,
you know what
for
I mean?
real. Yeah.
So I think that this, placing the music into this museum, into the universities, has kind of done a disservice when we get this better, holier than thou attitude. Well, you don't know the history of stride piano, then you can't be a great player. Of course you can. There's a lot of great players that don't know that.
Yeah, I hear you on this one. I'll hear it.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, no,
you seem
I do.
a little skeptical.
No,
there,
no.
man.
I'm thinking it through a little bit because I do. And I mean, you're right that in whatever you put into this, you're going to get back, tenfold as far as like digging deeper into, artists or in the history of music, it really does enhance your whole experience. It's so much more fun to listen to modern stuff, knowing the history of it and where it came from and the lineage. But like you said, you can still put on, if you've never heard Monk, you can still put on a Monk record and hopefully enjoy it and not have to be vibed by the Jazz Police.
I love how, Monk is like the latest thing. Something modern like Monk. You don't have to go all the way back before Monk, a good 50 years ago.
All right, we got number 7?
Yeah. This will be a good one for you because it's topical to yourself.
All right.
Go ahead.
Oh, you have to wear jazz hipster clothes to play/listen to jazz. Beret, piano tie. Now, hold on a minute, buddy. You are wearing a scarf indoors.
Yeah. It's cold.
Come on, man.
But this is not jazz hipster
I'm wearing
clothes.
like a blue sweater.
I know. I didn't say this applies to you right now. The hipster part did. But actually, this is two different things. So I probably shouldn't have put hipster but I put jazz hipster.
Okay.
So I'm thinking more like, going back in the day to like Greenwich Village in the 50s, the beatnik thing and whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But, like the guy who shows up, with I was going to say the long cigarette. No, that's something different, isn't it?
This one has really gone off the rails.
The beret. That's the one part. Around the world.
That does make you look jazzier, though.
That makes you look jazzier. And the piano tie, you weren't feeling that? The guy who shows up and is like, hey, what's up, man? The cats are all here,
This is definitely a myth.
Yeah. This is the 7 biggest myths. And we're all number 7. Come on.
This whole episode is a myth.
That's right. So you're not feeling this one?
No, this is fun, man. This is fun. I like the lighthearted You'll Hear It fairs. Not everything has to be all about block chords and triad pairs.
That's right. Well, you know what? So if we missed the mark on a couple of these, why don't you guys go to YouTube, check out today's episode, leave us in the comments.
Missed the mark? We missed the whole target.
I don't think so. If technically, let's go back and do a quick recap because we haven't done this.
Good idea.
So here's the 7 again,
right.
and this is what you guys can refute. I think number 4 is the only one we have a little bit of legal exposure.
There might be number 7. Yeah. Okay.
Number 1, you need to go to jam sessions every day to get better. Myth. Number 2, you have to be a jazz professor to play jazz well. Myth. Number 3, you have to suffer, do drugs, be African American, etc. to play jazz well. Myth. Number 4, you have to transcribe. No, if you transcribe solos, you'll automatically get better. Not a myth. Number 5, you have to be a member of the Jazz Police Force to play jazz well.
Myth.
Yeah. 6, you have to know the entire history of jazz to play or listen to the music.
True. Not myth. No.
Myth with caveats.
Myth with a caveat.
Okay.
Yeah.
7, you have to wear jazz hipster clothes to play or listen to jazz.
Well, that's it for today's episode.
So leave us in the comments on YouTube if you number 1 through 7 if you disagree with or agree with any of these, or maybe you have some other jazz myths that would be interesting for us to hear or comment on, right?
Yeah. And go to you'llhear.com to leave us a question or a voicemail there.
Yep.
Also pick up some You'll Hear It swag. We have T-shirts. We're still working on these 7-star T-shirts.
Yeah, they're coming soon, but we've got some of the OG logo You'll Hear It T-shirts available now.
They're like 2 months old. How can they be OG?
Well, man, stuff. Maybe we've done like 500 episodes since then.
That's true, actually.
All right. Well, till tomorrow.
You'll hear it.